A vacation to Florida soon, and are you wondering which of the four major Florida theme parks are worth visiting? Well, then you're in the right place, and let's get started. Let's discuss whether you should visit the Disney parks or not. Now, the major pros with the Disney parks is that many of the attractions have super low height requirements or even no height requirements at all. Like most attractions at the Disney parks have around 40-inch height requirements, which means super young kids will be able to experience these attractions and enjoy the parks. Another major benefit to Disney parks is that you have lots of indoor attractions. So let's just say you meet up with one of Florida's dreaded afternoon thunderstorms. Not many rides will close, so your day will not be ruined. And another major benefit to the Disney parks that's basically expected at this point is you have great theming and amazing atmosphere. Now let's move on to cons, which there are many major cons with the Disney parks. One, I just wish the Disney parks would add a bit more thrilling coasters. That's why I really want to see the trend continue with Guardians of the Galaxy and Tron, where Disney's adding more thrilling coasters that the whole family can enjoy. And the biggest problem with the Disney parks is they're stupidly pricey, as a one-day ticket to any of the Disney parks can cost anywhere between $140 to even like $200, which is just highway robbery in the theme park space. Another major downside with the Disney parks is you don't have many new attractions per year, if any. Like, for example, Animal Kingdom hasn't really gotten a major attraction since Pandora opened, at least that I'm aware of. And then you've had Magic Kingdom and Epcot get major new coasters recently. And Hollywood Studios just recently got Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and Galaxy's Edge, which are both great additions. But like none of these additions are like huge additions or like anything to make you want to go back to Disney parks again, at least in my opinion. Let's move on to SeaWorld Orlando, which is an amazing park that has a good amount of flaws. Now, the pros with SeaWorld Orlando is you have a lot of thrilling roller coasters, as you have Mako, their B&M Hyper Coaster, Kraken, their B&M Floorless Coaster, Manta, their B&M Flying Coaster, which are all great. And then you also have Icebreaker, which I have not ridden yet, but I've heard a bunch of great things about. And then you also have the new for 2023 coaster, Pipeline, the Surf Coaster, which is a brand new model of roller coaster that's basically a launch stand-up coaster that will definitely be a unique and fun and thrilling experience. Now, along with the awesome roller coaster lineup, you also have two of the best water rides, at least that I've experienced, as both Journey to Atlantis and Infinity Falls are just amazing, and they will both get you soaked head to toe, and they are just hilariously fun experiences. And moving on, SeaWorld Orlando also has amazing animal shows and exhibits. Now, some of my personal favorite shows at SeaWorld Orlando have been the Orca Encounter, Sea Lion High, which is always hilarious. You also have Dolphin Adventures, which is a ton of fun. And these are just amazing ways to just relax at the park and get away from riding a bunch of coasters and even get wet if you really want that. And also, along with the Disney parks, SeaWorld Orlando also has great atmosphere, though it doesn't have amazing theming, but the atmosphere definitely overshadows the lack of theming. But the major cons with SeaWorld Orlando is you just have a lack of attractions for young kids. As basically, if you're between 42 inches and 54 inches, there's really not a lot for you. As you can do Super Grover's Boxcar Derby, their Kiddie Coaster, Journey to Atlantis, and Infinity Falls. But other than that, there's really not many attractions if you're under 54 inches, as Mako, Kraken, Manta, Icebreaker, and Pipeline all have a 54-inch height requirement. And this is really upsetting because Icebreaker was originally supposed to have a 48-inch height requirement, but because of issues the ride had on its opening media day, the ride's height requirement was sadly increased to 54 inches, which I hope SeaWorld Orlando can figure out a way to bring that back down to 48 inches, as that will greatly enhance the park's kosher lineup and will allow younger kids to experience this park just as much as adults can. And another major problem with SeaWorld Orlando, in my opinion, is they need more dark rides, as Empire of the Penguin just recently closed, and it's looking like Wild Arctic is probably going to be on its last leg soon, as Wild Arctic at SeaWorld San Diego just recently closed. So Wild Arctic at SeaWorld Orlando will probably close within the next few years. And with those closures, SeaWorld Orlando will have no dark rides. And from my experience with Empire of the Penguin and Wild Arctic, those were both pretty good dark rides. Nothing crazy, like nothing amazing, but they were very solid dark rides and definitely worth experiencing, especially if it started to downpour or you just wanted to escape the Florida heat. In my opinion, the Universal parks are your best option if you have the money to spend, because the Universal parks have some great thrilling coasters such as Velocicoaster, Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure, The Incredible Hulk Coaster, Revenge of the Mummy, Hollywood, Rip Ride Rocket, and Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, which is definitely more of a dark ride than a coaster, but it has some unique ride elements that definitely make it tell a captivating story that definitely make it a roller coaster. Now, along with those great coasters, you also have some great dark rides, including Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, which is, in my opinion, one of the best dark rides of all time, mainly because of its unique ride system and the story that it tells. You also have The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, which is an older dark ride, but it's still one of the best dark rides at Universal. You also have some other older attractions such as E.T. Adventure, which is great. And you also have Men in Black Alien Attack, which is, in my opinion, the best shooting dark ride I've ever ridden because it's very responsive, has a good theme, some nice atmosphere, and is just one of the many great dark rides at the Universal parks. And then, along with the Disney parks, another pro of the Universal parks is you have amazing theming and amazing atmosphere throughout the parks. But with all those pros, the Universal parks do have their fair share of cons. The Universal parks have a lot of great dark rides, but also a lot of dark rides at the Universal parks, specifically Universal Studios, are fairly average. Like at Universal Studios, you have Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, Transformers The Ride, Fast and Furious Supercharged, Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, and these are pretty much all just average to bad motion simulators. And you can say the same thing about Skull Island Ring of Kong, which is not a motion simulator, but you're just riding past scenes, and it is a little on the boring side. And it's really sad because Universal can pump out some really great attractions, so to see these average dark rides here is just sad. The biggest con with the Universal parks is that they are very pricey, as a one-day ticket to Universal parks can cost you anywhere between $110 and $150, which is definitely very pricey for an amusement park. And then the season passes are anywhere from, I believe, $300 to probably up there to like $600 if I can remember correctly, with their most expensive passes that get you a bunch of benefits, but I don't know if they're worth the $600. You'll just have to judge that for yourself. In my opinion, Busch Gardens Tampa is the park to visit if you cannot visit any other park in Florida. This is mainly because of the lineup of great thrilling coasters, which includes Iron Gwazi, one of the best coasters of all time, Kumba, Montu, and Shikra, which are all very great B&M loopers. Then you also have fun coasters such as Cheetah Hunt and Cobra's Curse, which, even though they're definitely more geared towards a family audience, they're still fun attractions that are definitely worth riding when you visit Busch Gardens Tampa. Then you also have a great atmosphere that really sells the African theme of Busch Gardens, as you have a bunch of trees, some luscious landscaping, great looking flowers. And this also goes along with the amazing animal exhibits, which includes cheetahs, elephants, orangutans, tigers, and a bunch of other great animals. Now, in my opinion, the biggest con with Busch Gardens Tampa is the park just could desperately use more dark rides. As the park used to have a couple dark rides here and there, like you used to have King Tut's Tomb, which was a walk-through attraction that discussed the history of King Tut. That was replaced in order to make room for Cobra's Curse, which in my opinion was a good addition. And then you also had a much older attraction, which was Akbar's Adventure Tours, which I never got to ride as it closed a couple years before I was born. But I've heard it was a pretty solid motion simulator that even had an animatronic in it, which is definitely rare for motion simulators, and especially for a park that doesn't have the budget of a Disney or Universal park. In my opinion, a dark ride or two would really add a lot of value to Busch Gardens Tampa, as it would give you a ride to escape the Florida heat, and it would be able to remain open during Florida's outrageous afternoon thunderstorms. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like and share this video with anybody you know who will be visiting Florida soon. And also, if you're interested in learning more about why I think the Disney parks are severely overrated, check out my video on why the Disney parks are the most overrated parks in the world. Also, remember to subscribe to Southeastern Thrills, and peace.